Hey guys, just want to take you along on a dive offshore Jacksonville, Florida. So first time doing some audio voiceover on some of my YouTube videos, but figured it might be kind of fun to take some longer video clips and string them together from a day of diving and kind of show you guys what Jacksonville, Florida diving is all about. So what we're watching here today is from July 12th. We were offshore out of Mayport area, I don't know, roughly 15, 20 miles offshore of Jacksonville. And I'll tell you, I've lived in Jacksonville for almost 20 years. And for the first, I don't know, 8, almost 10 years, I never dove offshore because I didn't think it was any good. At least that's what my gut was telling me it would be horrible. But take a look, right? This is kind of an average or a slightly below average day offshore. I'd say visibility was roughly 30, maybe 40 feet on the couple of sites that we were on. The camera's going to kind of make it look better in some spots. It's going to make it look worse in some spots. So you got to kind of trust me on that one. But I mean, just take a look overall, the marine life that we have offshore. Jacksonville and St. Augustine is just loaded. I mean, everything from the bait fish you're seeing to the fish we're spearing. I just shot a sheep's head there. That's me, by the way. My dive buddy is running the camera today. The marine life is awesome. We do a lot of lionfish hunting. We do a lot of just overall spearfishing, everything from grouper, snapper, flounders, you name it. If it's in season, we're usually trying to put it in the cooler on the boat. But most of the diving that we do, roughly 100 foot or less, I would say is normally where we're headed, maybe a little bit deeper. And then later in the season, like when lobster opens up, some of the sites a little further offshore, roughly 40, 50 miles offshore. We're diving a bit deeper. So you're talking like 120 to 140 ish. And there's certainly some guys that go deeper than that, but that's usually about the max for me. I get pretty narked out of my brain when I start going beyond 100 feet. So if you don't have some helium in that tank, I don't remember a whole lot of what's going on. So my happy place is like 60 to 90 feet is great. So anyway, I'll kind of let you guys watch and I'll chime in as we see some of the stuff that's going on. But my number one focus is lionfish. I love lionfish hunting. I just think it's super fun. This year, we've not seen them as abundant as we have in the past number of years, which is actually a good thing. So either they went on vacation somewhere, or all of our spearfishing lionfish harvesting is actually having a positive impact. Just one lionfish on a ledge like this will absolutely decimate the baby fish population, anything they can fit in their mouth. So they're really, really not good for our environments. But you can see the marine life is thriving, right? Looks awesome. So as you can see, I'm carrying a lionfish container in my left hand. It's actually the Lionfish Locker from Aquatic Hunt. However, this one's been customized. I've got a commercial lionfish bag attached to the bottom. So basically, the whole bottom of that container was 3D printed by a friend of mine that runs Bad Fish Slayers. That makes a lot of custom lionfish and spearfishing accessories. So he reprinted the whole bottom and then had these bags made out of, I think it's called shark skin or turtle skin. I'll have to look that up. Here we go. We see some mangrove in here. I think I just got one. Yeah. So I just shot a mangrove. Woohoo. Anyway, he has these bags made. They're impenetrable from the spines of the lionfish. So they work really great. I guess I'm trying to give that one a kiss. But you can fill that bag up. I mean, when that container is full with that bag slam packed of lionfish, you've got about 50 pounds of lionfish. And that's actually the smallest container that Aquatic Hunt makes. But that's kind of the purpose, right? I've got this big deployable bag. And until I start seeing fish, it's usually tucked up inside the container. And so that's my favorite lionfish container. I've certainly made them out of buckets. I've used zookeepers. But being a commercial lionfish harvester, it's all about volume, right? You're trying to get everyone you can. Uh, and so it's a really helpful container. So usually as I'm diving, I've got my lionfish container. Here goes a mangrove. Waiting for the right shot patiently. There you go. Let's see if we get this one. Oh yeah, that's a nice little mangrove. So I usually hunt with Lionfish Locker in my left hand and either my pole spear in my right hand if I'm actively getting lionfish. Otherwise, my spear gun's in my right hand. I kind of alternate back and forth between the two. And I actually just kind of started using my lionfish container for everything. If it'll fit in that hole, I just shove the fish in there because it's way faster. Um, once you've taken care of subduing that fish and just slide them in the locker, it's super easy. The only downside of that commercial bag is it is a little more drag, but the lionfish locker is really not intended for the amount of weight that you could potentially put in there. So I've cracked a couple of the tops. Where one day we were floundering and using those for flounder, and I had well over 50 pounds of flounder in that bag, and just lifting that up out of the water on the boat, it was really, really good. I'm gonna guess we got another mangrove there. This day we did really well on mangrove snapper. Yep, there's a mango there. Gut shot by the look of it. Mangrove snapper, we got a handful of sheepshead. Of course, we got lionfish. I think I ended up with about 25 pounds of lionfish. The last spot we dove on this day got a bunch of flounder. I think I only saw one flounder until our last dive spot. And usually we're doing 3, 4 locations. So I think this is the same dive. I just kind of grabbed a couple of reels and strung them all together. Might be the second site now. Sure. A link in the details section there with some of the products that we're using today, the Lionfish Locker and the Koah Spearguns. If you guys want to check them out at FlippersDiving.com. Oh, there we go. Triggerfish. Forgot about them. I ended up with 4 triggers between us on this day. They were really big. I don't typically see lots of triggerfish out there, so it was kind of cool to see those. They don't fit in the container crate because their heads are so big and hard. Like you could get a 20-pound grouper to just slide right into that bag, but a 2-pound triggerfish is kind of challenging. And hopefully you've stoned them and they're not trying to bite you. But on this day, I think all of our dives were really right between 90 to 100 feet. And this is about 3 weeks after we had this horrible thermocline come in to the Jacksonville area. Big old Goliath just sat down there the whole dive, didn't go anywhere. Anyway, we usually about once a season we get some nasty water that comes in, and instead of having our typical 70 to 76 degree water temperature, it dropped down into high 50s, low 60s. Blackout visibility was really crappy for about a week or two. Just recovering now, so we're getting the visibility back. It's still pretty brisk on the bottom. This day, I think we were seeing 67, 68 degrees on bottom. I think one of the other sites it bumped up to 70. But it's still pretty brisk. I wore a 3 mil today, and I kind of regretted it. I was definitely pretty chilly. But I wear a 5mm hood as well, and of course booties and gloves and stuff. So wasn't miserable, but I think I would have preferred to been in my 5 mil. The site was kind of weird. It had this green, grassy, mossy algae junk. Like you can see it. It's all over the bottom. And one of the triggerfish I pulled up when I gutted him, he had it all on his stomach. So they're obviously eating. Kind of bizarre for at least offshore Jacksonville. We don't really see that kind of marine growth, so I have no idea what's causing that, but a little weird. And we only saw it on this one site. So this is actually kind of a smaller ledge. I think we swam this whole ledge 4 times. We just kept swimming back and forth, and we'd see different fish come out. They kind of hide up under the ledges, under the rocks and stuff. They're just nice and easy, scooting along. especially lionfish too, right? You'll swim by, see nothing, come back a minute later, and all of a sudden there's lionfish hanging out. Gets me stoked. Well, I think that's a trigger there. Another one of those triggers. I was really getting lucky this day with stone shots. I want to say I stoned about 80% of the fish that I shot, not counting lionfish. I don't know what it was. Maybe I just ate my Wheaties that morning or something. I will say though, I shoot a Koah battle axe spear gun. That's my primary gun. It's a 52-inch. For those of you who aren't super familiar with spear guns or the differences, the Koahs, they're custom made down in South Florida. They have an enclosed track for that spear. So a lot of spear guns, the spear just kind of sits on top, or it's not even really held by anything. It's just literally held at the very back end of the spear. And the only thing it has to guide it is a little tiny guide up at the muzzle of the gun. Well, the Koah is that spear lays inside of that whole stock. So you're kind of actually sliding the spear into the gun from the muzzle. And the accuracy on those guns, any enclosed trap gun, not just Koahs. Koahs are my favorite, but it's just crazy. Like, you can put that spear exactly where you want, within reason, right? You got some limitation. See the color change? That's just the camera being funky. I'll say it was not that green, but it was also not as blue as you saw it a couple minutes ago. I think this is still the same site. You can tell that bag's starting to get a little filled up with some fishes. Fishy. My handle was cracked on that container and I hadn't gotten a replacement yet. Normally, if I'm not seeing a ton of lionfish, there's a little sheath on the side of the container and you can loop your spear into it so you don't have to mess with it. So a lot of times I'll just put my spear in there, clip it off, or loop it off so the spear's not going anywhere, and clip the whole thing to my hip. If you're not on a site where you're seeing lionfish after lionfish, it's no point in carrying it around. But because I had busted the top cap on that thing, it was not wanting to be clipped, and I was afraid I'd break the whole top off of it. So I had to be double-handing it on this particular day, but it worked out pretty good. If I'd shoot something, I'd just drop my stuff on the bottom and deal with the fish and come back and pick it up. I was wearing this GoPro mask. I didn't have the GoPro on, but I was wearing this GoPro mask, which I've always really liked, and it was just leaking nonstop on this dive. So my mask is just slowly flooding always. You'll probably see me clear it a few times. I don't know if the mask was broken. I literally kept trying to see if my seal was broken around my hood. When I got on the boat, I had my buddy look at me. I'm like, look at my mask. Is this thing screwed up or what, man? It was just the whole dive driving me nuts. So needless to say, it got thrown in the gear bag and I put the spare mask on. My buddy's calling something. Oh, lionfish time. There we go. That's a good one. Gotten pretty good at going one-handed. You can see I do everything with my right hand. When I had switched over to the pole spear, I just slide my hand in the loop and just push it against some rock to kind of load it. So I don't need two hands. That way it keeps my other hand free to hang on to that Lionfish Locker and to my spear gun. We're diving generally about 32% nitrox on most of these dives. Sometimes we'll bump up our mixes a little bit, get a little extra bottom time. But generally, 100-foot dive, 32 is pretty much does the job for everything, I'm diving a high-pressure 100. Those kind of become my favorite sweet little cylinders lately. I used to dive really big, and I still have them. I dive LP 108s or LP 104s and jack them up, so it's kind of acting like a 130. Oh, there's a nice little sandbar. Came in for a look. I started diving these little cylinders and a smaller wing and a lightweight backplate wing, just like a travel size wing. And pretty awesome how lightweight that is and how easily maneuverable it is for me. I actually use less gas, and I'm still doing the same length of dives with literally smaller tanks. So instead of diving a 130, I'm diving a 100. Still doing call it roughly a 45-minute run time, total time, including ascent, safety stop, and a decompression, and back on the boat. I think we're still same site. I think most of this video is from this second dive site we were on. This is where I like to just kind of crawl down and look under the ledges. You guys, we swim by so much stuff that's just hiding under there, and a lot of these ledges, they'll go back a good ways, and sometimes they only go back a few feet. But what I'm looking at, and this is so painful to watch, you can't see it on the video, there's two gag groupers down there. They got to be 20-plus pounders apiece. They're just sitting there. They're not going anywhere. Of course, they're not in season, so they know I can't shoot them. There's also two big-ass red snapper down there, also like 20-plus pounds. And I'm seeing a mangrove snapper that's maybe, 3 pounds or something. And I'm trying to get the grouper and the snappers to get out of the way so I can pull the trigger. And what I ended up doing was I've got the battle axe, which normally I'm free shafting, but it's got the line on it. So I put the line on my shaft and then got my light and kind of waited until those fish moved out of the way. And my dive buddy's not seeing it happen right now, but was able to shoot that mangrove way back under the ledge. I never would have gotten my spear out, shoot it, and then pull it out with the line. And thankfully, didn't piss off the grouper or the snapper, didn't hurt anybody, and I think I got the fish here. Yep, there it is. Still dealing with that flooded mass. That's one really nice thing about that gun, the battle axe. It's intended for free shafting, but you have the ability to throw a line on your shaft within, probably takes me 3 seconds to put that line on. And then when I'm done with it, I can stow it and go right back to free shaft. So it really makes it fast to go back and forth. And I'll say 98% of the time, I'm free shafting. But situations like that, you're way under a ledge, or maybe you see something swimming through the water column, like a pompano, cobia, whatever. I'm not good enough to free shaft those fish, so I'm going to put a line on that thing. You got to know if there's bait fish. There's big fish around there somewhere. Because that's dinner, right? Almost the point where, look at the visibility. I am disappearing into the bait fish. There were some sites you actually had no visibility because of the bait fish. The bait fish go away, you'd have 40 foot. But in some areas, those schools of bait fish are so thick, you can't even see 3 feet in front of your face. So it's kind of interesting, bizarre problem that we have sometimes. Yeah, I'm disappearing again. I think we're creeping close to the end here. We ended up, with a nice cooler full of fish this dive. We did 4 dives, 4 locations this day, and man, the conditions I love it. I really do. My point of this whole video was to just share Jacksonville diving and what it's all about, and hopefully you guys get out there and give it a shot. So you can always reach out to us at the shop, FlippersDiving.com. Hit me up. Happy to chat diving any day of the week.